Okay, so good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we'll be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We'll go through important articles of the day and we'll try to solve one MCQ which was given to you in the previous lecture. Other than that, we'll be discussing some part of the constitution. We have discussed the socialist DPSPs. Now we'll be discussing DPSPs based on the, you can say, Gandhian principles. Okay, and that would be the part of today's discussion. Now let's start. We'll start with the practice question as I told you, and then we'll be moving forward with the next part which is related to know our constitution. So we'll be discussing the DPSPs there, and then we'll be discussing these three important articles, that is Supreme Court on the Kolkata horrors. You know that there was this rape and murder case in Kolkata, and because of which there were widespread protests related to the providing the justice to the doctor who died in the case. So we'll be talking about that. There were certain guidelines on the direction which has been given by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has taken the suo motu cognizance of this particular case. So we will try to understand what is suo motu cognizance as well. Okay, then India Japan 2+2 dialogue meeting. So this is a strategic meeting which happens when we are talking about 2+2, that is basically your defense minister and external affairs minister from both the sides, they will be meeting. So that is why 2+2 dialogue. When we talk about 2+2 dialogue, we have these dialogues with other countries as well, like USA, with Australia and Japan we have. So basically you can say that with all the quad countries we have this dialogue. Okay, now moving further, that is landslide damage on the Tista. Okay, so there was this dam on the Tista River where there was this landslide, and because of which there were certain damages which has happened, but fortunately there was no loss of lives over there, because since there was this excess rainfall, and because of which the administration over there were successfully able to evacuate the people. So we'll be discussing about all these things. Okay, now this is the front page of the newspaper. Here you can see, as allies join opposition to oppose, government calls back lateral entry hiring. So basically 2-3 days back we have discussed that there was this UPSC advertisement of the 45 vacancies. They were supposed to be you can say fulfilled by the lateral entry, but because of the opposition and the certain allies were also not in favor of that, so government has taken back that advertisement. So we will not go into details of it because we have already discussed what is lateral entry etc in the last to last session, I guess. So we don't have to go into that. Then second is horrific crime, what were police doing when the mob hit the hospital. So this particular article we will be trying to take up. Okay, now let's start with the session. We will be looking at the question, that is for the appointment of Supreme Court judges, the collegium consists of the Chief Justice of India and 2 senior most judges of Supreme Court, 3 senior most judges of Supreme Court, 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court, or 2 senior most judges of the concerned High Court. Now the thing is, this is, you can say, incorrect over here. Again, then you have to look at the 1, 2 and 3 options. So when we are talking about the collegium, you know that from the second judge case, collegium was CGI plus 2. Okay, then there was this third judge case, and the third judge case the collegium was CGI plus 4. Okay, and the 4 are the senior most judges. So option C would be your right answer over here. Okay, moving further and starting with the constitution part, as I told you, we were discussing DPSPs. Today there are 3 kind of DPSPs. That division is not given in the constitution, that is a division was done by the scholars. So first you can say there was this DPSPs based on the socialist idea, then based on Gandhian idea, then liberal ideas. Okay, so we have discussed the socialist yesterday. Now we will be discussing the Gandhian ideas. Now here you can see directives based on the Gandhian principle. There are few articles which are there. Article 40, the state shall take up steps to organize village panchayat as units of self-governance. Now you know that the organization of the village panchayat that was given in the DPSP, later on you know that it has been given the constitutional status by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, you know that. Okay, then moving further, you will be seeing Article 43. the state shall endeavor to promote cottage industries on an individual or the cooperative basis in the rural areas. So here they are talking about the promotion of the cottage industry in the rural area. Then Article 43B, to promote voluntary formation of autonomous functioning, democratic control and the professional management of the cooperative societies. Now this was added later, okay. So there is a DPSP which is related to cooperative societies as well. Then Article 46, the state shall promote education and the economic interest of weaker section of the people, particularly to that of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other weaker sections, okay. So that is basically related to promotion of education and the economic interest in the weaker section, okay. Now here you can see that they are mostly talking about either self-governance, that is related to your village panchayat, then cottage industry, here you can see, then cooperatives, and then you can say education status of weaker sections. So ultimately they are talking about certain particular class, you can see over here. So Gandhian ideas are mostly revolving around the hinterland and the weaker section of the society, okay. Then 47 article, that is saying that the state shall take steps to improve public health and the prohibit consumption of intoxicating drugs that are injurious to the health. Then Article 48, to prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves and the milch, okay. So these are certain articles which are important for you, okay. When we talk about DPSP, all the DPSPs are important for you, so you have to go through it because there are certain questions which has been directly asked from the, you can say, these discussions, okay. Now moving further, we'll be starting with the first article, that is related to the Kolkata rape and murder case. Here you can say horrific crime, what were the police doing when the mob hit the hospital, pulls up Bengal, okay. The Supreme Court forms task force for the safety of medicos. Other than that also, Supreme Court here has said that, stating that the brutality of the sexual assault and the nature of the rape and the murder of the junior doctor at the RG Kar Medical Hospital College and the hospital in Kolkata on August 9th have shocked the conscience of the country. Now this is the reason because of which there was various protests which are happening, and ultimately Supreme Court has taken suo motu cognizance. Suo motu cognizance means they have taken up the case on their own, okay. So here you can see suo motu cognizance is a Latin term that is used for, that is on its own motion, okay, by themselves on their own they have taken the cognizance of that particular case, okay. Now it's a power that Indian judiciary has to take notice of matter without receiving a formal petition or the complaint. This allows the court to initiate legal proceedings on its own, okay. Now you know that because of this particular issue which has happened, people has moved to the court, lower courts basically, because there is a hierarchy in the judiciary as well. So they have moved to the lower court, but ultimately at some point Supreme Court has decided that they should decide on this. So they have taken the suo motu cognizance of certain things which they thought should have been done there, but it was not been done, okay. So they have, considering the seriousness of the matter, they have taken up the case on their own. So basically it is a mechanism under the court wherein court can go for taking the cognizance without any formal complaint. Most of the time you will see there is an FIR, and then on the basis of that FIR or the complaint, the court will take cognizance. But in certain cases, if such FIR and the you can say complaint is not been filed, or the court does not have, like Supreme Court does not have the direct or original jurisdiction in that particular area, then they can go for the suo motu cognizance of that, okay. So in this case also court has taken suo motu cognizance and they have gone for the certain direction, okay. Hearing of the case, some special guidelines and direction has been issued. Observation, let's see. So question on the administration, attempt to present the incident as suicide, okay. There are various questions which has been raised in this particular matter, okay. We will not be going into going deep into it, but there are certain things which are, you can say, around which there is a controversy which has been created, okay. Now Supreme Court has been questioning on the administration on that part, okay. Second thing is, medical professionals are vulnerable to the violence, okay, and concern especially high for the woman. So there are security measures which are needed, okay. So that is obvious when we talk about the long hours of working in the hospital, when we talk about the when we talk about the people who are visiting the hospital, they are from various sections which are coming over there, and then if there is night duty, etc. So there should be you can say some kind of safety measures which should be put into place because of certain incidents which has recently we have witnessed that the doctors are not even safe in their own, you can say, workplace. Okay, other than that also, if we generally speak with respect to this particular issue of the women's safety, then we have to do a lot in this particular area. Okay, so medical professionals are vulnerable to the violence. Concern is specifically higher for the women doctors, nurses, or the other hospital staff, technical or non-technical, which are there. For them there is this concern. Okay, and that is why security measures are needed. Then lack of institutional security in the hospital, no facilities for rest. Okay, in this particular the case which we are discussing, in that case, after a 30 to 32 hours of the duty, doctor was going to the seminar hall for the rest only. Okay, because they do not have the provision of the or you can say there are not particular places with the security for them to rest, and that is why you can say such incident you can say safety becomes an issue for that. Okay, now lack of institutional security in the hospital, so that is there. Measures by Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court has said that resident doctors in the medical college, public and private, and the doctors in the government hospital should be formally declared as the public servant, be it in the private hospital or in the public hospital, since they are on duty and they are serving the public only, and that is why Supreme Court has said that these people should be designated as the public servants. Okay, that is one thing. When you designate a person as a public servant, then any crime against that becomes even more, you can say, of a higher degree. Second thing is there are certain level of protections which they might get out of that designation. Okay, then moving further, a police post should be mandatorily established in the premises of the municipal hospital. In the vicinity and the premises, there should be a, you can say, police booth which has to be established in that particular area. Okay, so that will ensure safety and timely response as well. Moving further, a national task force should be formed comprising senior doctors, government officials, and the head of medical associations. Okay, so that is a national task force which is to be formed. Function, design and suggest safety measures for the medical professionals, such as development of the infrastructure including separate toilets, technological intervention to restrict access to the critical hospital areas, CCTV cameras, provision of road transport, counseling services, crisis workshop, quarterly safety audits, increasing police presence in the hospital. These are certain measures which can be taken considering the case which has happened in the hospital. Okay, now these are the guidelines which has been provided by the, you can say, Supreme Court. Other than that, this case is being investigated by the CBI, so we'll keep tap on that. We hope justice should prevail in this case as well. Now moving further, next article is related to the landslide damage on the Tista River. Okay, now there was this because of the heavy rainfall, there was this damage which has happened on the Tista River. Now because of which this river becomes important for us. Hold on a second. Okay, so because of which this Tista River becomes important for us. Okay, now starting from the article here, a massive landslide at Dipudara near Singtam in the East Sikkim on Tuesday morning damaged a dam on the Tista River and affects the hydroelectric project over there. So you don't have to remember these particular areas, just remember that Tista River is important and it is in Sikkim. We will be talking about it in the further slides. Okay, now this was triggered by the heavy rainfall. When we talk about landslides, what actually happens is that landslide can be because of the two reasons. One can be because of the earthquakes, second can be because of the heavy rainfalls. Okay, earthquake we understand because if there is some kind of change in the isostatic situations in that particular area, or the earth is moving, and because of which there can be a landslide. Okay, but when we talk about rainfall, how rainfall will assist into you can say landslides. So let's see, this is basically the slope of a particular area. Okay, now this is the when we are talking about this particular, you can say, composition of this particular area, that is rocks. Now let's see, there is some kind of crack which has happened over here and over here. Now since there is a heavy rainfall, because of which water will start to percolate inside that. Okay, when water is starting to percolate inside that, they will also introduce into this particular you can say fault lines, okay, or the cracks. When water is there, and if there is some kind of, obviously in the, you can say internal structure also there is some kind of water which is available because of the percolation, and since water is there, that will act as a lubricant, or you can say friction will be lesser. Okay, because of this particular part, or let's say this particular part, they will start to be a victim of the gravity over here, and they will start to move downside. Okay, on the down slope they start to move, and suddenly at one particular point they will actually get disconnected from this, and ultimately you will see that there will be a formation like this. Okay, like this and then this. Okay, so this is the feature which will happen after the landslide. So this particular part will actually slide to, you can say, downstream. Okay, so that is basically your landslide, and because of water it is happening, or rainfall it is happening, because water will act as a agent which will reduce the friction over there. Okay, now here coming to this particular article, here what has happened, it has been triggered by the heavy rainfall. For the past 7 days, minor landslides were taking place frequently in the area. Recognizing the potential threat, the state and the local administration has started the evacuation process in this particular area. Those working at the power station also were evacuated, because of which there is no casualties which has been happened in this particular area. Okay, the Tista Stage 5 dam hit the landslide and was rendered non-operational last October following the glacial outburst floods that caused significant damage and the flooding across the Tista River. We have talked about this glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, we have seen it earlier, but for your you can say information, I will tell you now also. Let's say this is a glacier, and in the foothill of that particular glacier over here, there is a lake which has been formed because this water is melting. Water is melting, and because of which this lake has been formed over here. And let's see, since this depression is like this only, that is why lake is holding held by this particular, you can say, embankment which is over there. Okay, now the water level of this particular lake is rising, because obviously the water ice is getting melted, and because of this water is rising over here. At certain point of time, because of the weight of the water, water has the hydrological weight, and because of the hydrological force which is put on this embankment again and again, someday this embankment will fail. Okay, and the whole water of the lake will start to flow downstream, and that is what is called glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, so that was there, and because of which also there was certain damage which has happened. Now in this particular area, the border road organization has started the restoration work on the roads. Okay, so that is about the issue which has happened, or the event which has happened. Now talking about the Tista. Okay, it originates from the Chombo Chohu from the glacial lake, that is Khang Chung Cho. Okay, so this is the you can say area from which this particular river is originating. Okay, this is also it is also said that the Tista Khangse glacier and the Cho Lahamo are also considered as the source of the Tista River by many authors. Okay, so if there are names which are related to this, like Chombo Cho, or you can say Cho Lahamo, Khangse glacier, etc. So just understand that these are all related to Tista River. Okay, now the total length of the river is 309 kilometer. Okay, or 192 miles. Now if we talk about the course of the river, starting from Sikkim, it will go to, you can say, some part of West Bengal, and ultimately it will enter into Bangladesh. Okay, and there the river will continue southward, emptying directly into the upper Padma river, that is also called as Ganga river. Okay, so this is about the Tista river, and this is enough for you to remember. Like, these are 2-3 names which are difficult, but just know that these are related to Tista river. Now moving further to the next one, that is related to your 2+2 dialogue which is happening on global disputes. India and Japan reaffirms peaceful settlement needs. Okay, so basically if we talk about the 2+2 dialogue, as I told you, this is a dialogue wherein the defense minister and the external affairs minister from the both sides. Okay, so that is why it is 2 from India plus 2 from Japan. Okay, such dialogues are there with various countries like Australia, USA, we have with Japan. Okay, so basically you can see that these are all Quad members. So with all the Quad members we have this strategic you can say meeting procedure. Okay, now here you can see In this particular meeting, they will be talking about the rule-based international order founded on the principle of UN Charter, respect for the national sovereignty and the territorial integrity and peaceful settlements of the disputes. Here you can see rule-based international order. Okay, so basically that is related to wherever there are certain conflicts which are going on. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is principle of UN charters. Okay, that is if we talk about the Israel Hamas issue or otherwise also these becomes relevant. Then respect for national sovereignty and the territorial integrity. When we talk about the areas in the South China Sea or the East China Sea, okay, so this becomes important because there are various areas wherein China is being quite aggressive. Okay, and even when we talk about the, you can say, Senkaku Islands, etc. Japan has direct conflict with the China with respect to the Senkaku Island. Okay, so that is why that has also been recognized over here. And then the peaceful settlement of the dispute. Here they are talking about the Russia-Ukraine issue. Okay, now need for all countries to refrain from any attempt to unilaterally change any kind of status quo. Okay, so that is there. Japan India 2+2 foreign and defense ministers meeting in New Delhi, which is okay, in which all these things has been talked about. Here you can see further enhance the bilateral security and the defense cooperation. Okay, when we talk about allies of USA, India is right now trying to have a better connection with them. Okay, and when we talk about the country like Japan, okay, we have historical ties as well, and in this particular area Japan is quite influential as well. Other than that also, if we look at this, you know that Japan is the country which is technologically very advanced, and India is, you know, getting some concessions with respect to that also. Okay, now national security strategies of Japan in December 2022. When we talk about this national security strategy of Japan, there are certain changes which has happened in the way Japan used to look at the world. And you know that Japan was a state which is considered to be a Pacific state. Okay, because the thing is they had the Pacific constitution as well. Okay, and they have said that they will not be spending much on the army, they will not be having you know, vast army, and USA was the security provider when we talk about Japan. But recently they have said that for their own security and for their own you know, security reasons in the region, when we talk about the threats related to China or aggression related to China, they have actually tried to change the you know, this nature of the constitution. That is, earlier they was having no military, but they will be spending certain amount on the military as well. Okay, so that was the change which has Japan you know, is going through. Now Japan India special strategic and the global partnership, that will also get enhanced. The Security Council reforms with a view to strengthen the UN. Now Japan is also supporting for the Security Council reforms. They have condemned the terrorism and violent extremism, including the cross-border terrorism. That is something which mostly all the international you know, bodies or the, you know, various countries, they are agreeing to. The common strategic vision towards the free and open Pacific, that is inclusive, peaceful, prosperous, and the, you can say resilient, as part of the rule-based international order. Successful completion of the cooperation in the areas of unmanned ground vehicle. Okay, now unmanned ground vehicles or the robots, so we are having this partnership with the Japan as well. Cooperation in Quad. Okay, as I told you, we are having this 2+2 dialogues with all the Quad members. Quad is considered to be an, you know, organization which is working in this area for the free and open navigation and the, you know, international order, etc., etc. But ultimately, if you see, the aim here is to counter China. Okay, we are not formally saying that the Quad has the same aim, because the charter of the Quad does not say that. But the thing is, that is the case when we are seeing that there is this rise of China in this particular area, and influence of the China is increasing in the Indo-Pacific region, and that is why USA has actually the Japan has come up with this idea. Okay, and ultimately USA and Australia has joined, and India is also part of the Quad. Okay, in a book by S. Jaishankar, why Bharat matters or why India matters. Okay, so in that particular book they have actually mentioned that the Quad is compared with the 4 sons of Dashrath. Okay, so and UPSC has asked about this particular book, so that is why I have given this particular reference. Other than that, people to people exchange, which is also part of the, you can say, India and Japan dialogue which has happened. Now moving further, India must extradite Hasina. She has to face trial, BNP leaders. So when we talk about the this Bangladesh right now, So you know that there is this BNP, that is Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Okay, so they are saying that India should send back Sheikh Hasina to you can say Bangladesh for the trial, because obviously that is kind of extradition which we have already talked about. When we talk about a particular crime which has happened in a particular area and the person has fled and he did not face the trial over here, or otherwise a trial was going on, then he has fled, he or she has fled from that particular area. In that case, if the country has an extradition treaty with another country and the nature of the crime is considered as the or nature of the incident which has happened is considered crime in both the countries, in such cases they can go for the extradition. Okay, so which we have discussed already. When we are talking about Bangladesh, India and Bangladesh do have an extradition treaty. Okay, but now what will India do, that is totally depends on the India's strategies, which we will be seeing in the future. But as of now, the BNP, that Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is asking for the extradition of Sheikh Hasina. Okay, then bodies of 6 hostages found. Blinken says Israel accepted the US proposal on the truce deal. So recently we have discussed that there was this proposal which has been put forward by the USA, okay, in Qatar, and they have said that this is the last opportunity for both the sides to think about this particular opportunity or the bridging the gaps over here. So Israel has accepted, but Hamas did not. Okay, and Hamas has said that there are certain you can say the original aspects of the deal was not there in that particular thing, but they did not specify the which one. So Hamas did not accept it, but here you can see Israel has accepted it. But again, if Hamas does not accept it, that is of no use. Okay, so this is the recent development in the international arena which has happened. Now for last part is the new study suggests that liquid water deep inside the Martian rocks. The traces of water being there on the moon and you can say Mars, this is known, but the thing is now they are saying that there is a possibility that there is a liquid water that is available deep inside the internal structure of the Martian rocks. So that is the new thing which has been in the you can say discussion right now. So you can go through this particular article. Okay, now last part, that is basically your MCQ question. Which of the following article under DPSP talks about the organizing village panchayats? Article 44, Article 40, Article 243Z, Article 32. So you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. And if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.